Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Tyree, I have to say your story is probably one of the most inspirational stories I've ever heard. And you should really be proud of how you have overcome great physical and personal difficulties to achieve your professional, personal successes in your life. I guess the question I have is, can you explain the physical and psychological and emotional benefits you've experienced since you've been employed by Kansas University Center of Disabilities?
Yes, I would love to. So first off, I would like to kind of go back to my testimony. As I said, I have had less hospitalizations for mental and physical health upon being competitively integrated employed in the state of Kansas by KUCD. It has given me a real purpose in my life because I'm able to help others that are in the same situation that I was in when I couldn't see the light at the end of the tunnel between all these different services and support systems that we have to navigate to get the necessary support to receive competitive integrated employment and things of that nature. And it's given me a different outlook on life and changed the perception of my own capabilities. So, yeah, thank you, Mr. Carey.
Well, Mr. Tyree, I would also say, would you say that your life has really found purpose with your employment?
Yes. Before I found competitive integrated employment, I didn't really have a purpose greater than myself. And because of KUCD and the services and supports that helped me to find that job and maintain that job without losing my essential benefits, yeah, I would have basically graduated to the couch and have been relying on supports and services and wouldn't have been able to do things as independently.
Okay, thank you for that. Mrs. Walsh, I was struck in your testimony in here that people are trying to survive and the system is, as it is structured, and I think this is a quote, can now make work feel like a risk, not a reward. I think that was your statement. My question, can you talk more about the reality of what's facing individuals and the intangible benefits of work?
Around risk and reward and employment. Okay. So with benefits, it's very difficult to get on in the first place. We all know that. It's been stated, right? It takes a long time. Once I'm on the benefit, now I get a letter saying, hey, go to work. That's what the ticket to work letter that comes about a year later says, hey, guess what? You can go to work now. I may or may not want to go to work depending on, where I'm at, what my disability is, all of that. Maybe I do want to go to work. But there's a risk with going to work because what happens to those benefits? What's going to happen to my Medicaid? What's going to happen to my food stamps? What's going to happen to my child's benefit, right? All of these things have to be looked at, and there's a calculation that can be done, right? There's this risk and reward. So when I counsel someone, for example, I will not make a decision for them. I will give them the information. Here's the bottom line. If you go to work and you're earning this and you have this benefit, here's what financially the bottom line is going to look like. You have to make that decision, though, because work is more than just a paycheck. There is value in work, as you've just stated, right? Like, there's all of these other pieces, my mental health, all of these other things that happen. So there is risk and reward, and you have to determine that. And having people come alongside you, different supports, which these programs that we're talking about do, is incredibly important. Thank you.
Well, thank you for that. I think I'm going to do Mr. Sanderson. I'm reading through your testimony. I think you said most of it, but one of the recommendations is for us to look at ways to encourage public and private partnerships, so there is more of a collaborative model to benefit employers and the community employment agencies, like the one that Mrs. Walsh runs. What changes would that involve, or how would that look in practice?
Yeah, I think there's probably several ways to do it. I think there's probably movement that needs to happen on both sides of that, and it's not as if this is an either or. But I think there are some employers who who just aren't quite fully educated on the benefits of working with organizations who are helping people get job ready who have disabilities. And I know that that term disability, there are times there are organizations that use diverse ability. It's not just a novelty. There are extraordinary abilities that are nested in people who've experienced hardship. It's unfortunate that people have experienced that hardship, and there are oftentimes there's no good reason why it occurred, but if somebody is able to make it through that experience, they are generally in a better position to be exactly the kind of employee that somebody's looking for. So I think there's an opportunity to educate employers on, one, the organizations that are doing this in their area. I think there are a lot of employers that don't know it, and it's not because they don't want to know it. Their heads down, they're in their weeds, they're trying to grow their business. They may not know that there is an organization or multiple organizations training people specifically for their industry. So I think that there's awareness generally changes everything. It's a bit hard to pinpoint, but you know it when you see it, and you can't unknow it once you're aware of something. And so I've been fortunate enough to come from that other side of the ledger. So I came into the for-profit world knowing all these organizations that are providing these services and getting people to a place where they can engage meaningfully in employment. So I think if I had to pick one, I would probably start there. Some attempt to educate employers on the organizations around them that are basically building a pipeline to workforce for them, and they don't know it.
Well, I want to thank you for your testimony. I want to thank all of you. And with that,